Hello, hello. Welcome to Laurent Collective Podcast. We're glad that you're with us.
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Welcome. We today are going to jump right into things, and we are going to talk about navigating challenges in your business. And I guess it's a challenge. We're in the middle of one of just trying to figure some things out, and we like to share some things in real time with you guys and then be able to come back and share with you how things are going. And then also we are hearing from so many other people that have a business right now. They're like, I don't know what to do anymore. And I think some of that is caused by we're still feeling a lot of the effects from COVID. I know, COVID's still around, first of all, but there's spending is different, cost of living is different, so much, the pressure on people is different of different things and that kind of stuff. And so depending what business you're in, a lot of people that we know that are in the creative industry and stuff, they're seeing their business look very different than they have in years past. And so like we've always said, you can't compare, month to month because, different months are slower than others and stuff like that. But even right now, I feel like if I look back on this month last year, I can't compare year to year anymore. And that used to be kind of like, how was it last year? Is this normal? That kind of thing. And it feels like that's all out the window as well. And so it's challenging.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging.
And so we have several times talked about different like income streams and trying different things in your business. And this is when that kind of stuff is really important. And I would say it's a lot of testing, which is hard because often we like to find our thing in our business and be like, stick with that because it's easy to do that. Like, at least we have thought that.
Yeah.
Or it's the thing that launched your business and it's the thing that was the thing that was building your business and your business had momentum from that. And then it just kind of goes stagnant. It may still be there, but it's not really progressing anymore. And so that's where I thought we'd share in real time, like some of the stuff we're trying. We do not know how it's going to go yet. So I'm not saying this is the solution.
Yeah, sure.
That's not what we're saying, but some things that we're trying. And for us, if you sell physical products, for us, we do our main thing from the beginning has been like prints, art prints and things like that. And then we've thrown in things like t-shirts, mugs, like all the other kind of fun things that you can get with that as well. And then we have a whole it was kind of with that, but now it's a bit different, like cards that Pat designs, and we do that on a kind of a separate thing. And there's obviously your children's book illustrations. We were teaching a course for a while. There's all, you can see how we've done that. We haven't had this podcast, that kind of stuff. Currently, this podcast is just for fun of it. It's not making money for us or anything like that. But in that, mainly going back to the prints and that kind of stuff, haven't we noticed there's been a big change in that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've just been really paying attention to what's been going on in our business. Really, actually, more probably paying attention to our audience and like what people have been asking for has been kind of a big thing, I think, for us recently. And just trying to really pay attention to that rather than assuming that, the things that we've always been doing, like Maya just said, like all those things will still continue to work and that our audience, even though they're saying these things, will still continue. And that's probably that's like false to think that, that they will continue to come back and things like that. And so I think for us, like the biggest thing is just really paying attention to what people are asking of us and the things that we sell and the things that we are putting out into the world. And so that's what we've been really kind of focusing in on.
Yeah. So I think two things is one is like cost effectiveness for us, like what are the costs to get a product to somebody, and then also what do we have to then have be like our pricing for that, to what makes sense for our pricing, then to be able to make a profit. You should not be breaking even and you should not be losing money on a product you're selling. Then you're not really a business.
Yeah.
And so with that, it means as cost of stuff and goods and stuff like that has gone up, cost of shipping has gone up, all of those things have gone up. It means that our products have to go up too, in order to be able to make a profit and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so that means that sometimes our numbers have dropped because of that. And it's so hard when you're comparing your business to others, because I can see what other people are charging. I know the vendors they use, and I know they're not making money off those products. And so if someone from our audience says, but so-and-so selling it for this, I don't say, well, they're not making money. I'm like, so sorry, we have different cost of goods and that kind of thing. Even though I may know they're using the same people to print stuff. So that's how you can handle something like that. But we've been consistently, for probably the past year, been asked, there are certain things that we're like, no, you can't do that with our artwork and that kind of thing. But consistently we have been asked if we will do digital artwork. What that means, for those of you that aren't quite sure what that means, is that means basically somebody can pay for it still. They still pay for it, but they download it and then they can print it to use in their home and that kind of stuff. We do have restrictions on it. You can't guarantee somebody's going to do that. But we obviously have copyright, a whole thing on our information and stuff of like copyright. Pat is putting his signature in the corner. We don't do that for cards, but that kind of stuff. And so cards were a major one for us. Cards, sending a physical card in the end almost like took...
We didn't really make money at all.
Yeah, it
Actually,
didn't really make
cost
sense
us
in
more.
the end, especially if somebody was ordering them from the United States and stuff like that, and shipping and what you charge and all, and what people are used to buying a card, like maybe in a shop or something like that. And so those were our first thing to try digitally, and that's been going well. But we're not really there. We've tried some prints, but it's been maybe ones that we're like these are not that popular ones, so let's just try it with these. We're going to try it with a couple more of our popular ones to see how it goes. Certain ones we're still saying, no, those are physical only. And so it's, again, looking at your products and saying, what am I willing to test this on? And we've had like 2 or 3 pieces of artwork that people have consistently either asked, can you separate that into 3 so I could put 3 on my wall like that? Or can you do digital download because I want it in this size and you don't offer that size? Or often people wait till last minute for gifts and things. I'm still shocked at how many people wait till last minute on things.
Just normal things.
Whenever there's a holiday. And so if they're like, oh, if I had a digital copy, I could go print it. And I think the one reason why we've stayed away from the digital stuff is we were worried about your artwork being used in ways we didn't want it to. And then you were worried about the quality. How do you feel about that now? About the quality part of the final output that somebody has?
Well, I think that for me, it was more thinking of, how all that worked. I think now understanding a little bit more about digital downloads and digital artwork and stuff being kind of bought and purchased by others, I think, there's certain aspects of the quality that I can still control, which is nice. And so I'm not too concerned about that anymore. Initially that was because I think it was still relatively new and people were doing it. And, you think about somebody just printing it off on their like inkjet printer at home. And to me, that just felt a little weird. So
they
now
might still do that.
Some people still might do that. But I think for the most part, I think there's lots of easier ways that people can do it now online and different things that you'll get, really good quality print. Using the files that were
there are, and you can,
so.
If it's something you're thinking about doing, you can recommend places and things.
Exactly.
So I think
quality isn't necessarily so much of a concern anymore.
And we have tested out other people's artwork, like because we live in the UK. There's often stuff that people won't ship to the US or UK from the US if there's an artist we like. And so there's a couple people that we have been able to get, because they offer them digital downloads, and like how that process has been and everything like that. And now it's hanging on our wall. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. I do understand the reasoning for it. And it tends to be the trend of where things are going. Now, do you need to jump on every trend? Absolutely not. And so again, when you come into, like when things are getting tough and navigating the challenges in your business, it's thinking like, what other things can I try? Maybe we're still selling physical things right now. And so we're still going to do these things, but like, what other things can I try? Just see how it goes and to test it out. There is nothing wrong with testing things out. And if you're in a place where you're in a tough place and it's really challenging in your business, try to test things out that are less expensive than others, if that makes any sense. And so this is obviously, yes, there's your time putting together everything, but once a digital download is up there, our cost isn't that much. Yes, you
time
can.
Isn't that
time
much.
Isn't that much. They depending what platform we're using, they get it, and we have no involvement in it. They get the downloads. Now, I have noticed you get more questions with downloadable products a little bit, but
That's pretty normal.
hopefully that will work itself out of, with what we know we need to put in the instructions and that kind of thing and make really clear. And so that makes it an easy product to test. So whatever your business is, if there's an easy way, and I know for some businesses that's more difficult than others.
That's true.
But if there's an easy way to test something to see how it goes, that's well worth it. And I think it's easy for us, where, again, it's one of those funny things that you learned of who is buying your products, and that's really important to understand. And for us, it's 97% women that buy our products. And so when it comes to something like Mother's Day, like our Valentine's cards and digital downloads sold wonderfully. I've noticed our Mother's Day ones aren't doing so great, but I have to think of who is typically buying for Mother's Day, and it's males. And that's not to say anything bad, but in general, they'll wait till the last minute. They're most likely not going to go on certain things. They're going to go to the shop and buy it there. And so that's something you have to keep in mind when you're testing things out. I'm interested to see how Father's Day goes with some of those things, and that may be different, or like these prints that are some of the ones that people have asked for. And so think about that too. Think about who is buying your products. When are the seasons? I mean, Christmas is always, but you test these things out now too. When are the seasons or the events that they're more likely to buy them, that you may test out it's a new income stream in many ways, or a new product, or a new way of doing things, and that kind of stuff, because it's important. And then, I mean, I don't have a number to tell you of how many months to try something out. Depending on what it's costing you, that could be a deciding factor. Like, I'm willing to give this 3 months because it's costing me this much. If you're selling stuff on a platform you already have, it may not be an additional cost. It may just be time, which is still a cost, and that kind of stuff. But I think testing it out for a period of time is important too, don't you think? Oh, gosh,
yeah. I don't think you can really gauge on the success or failure of something if you don't give it time. That doesn't make any sense. Exactly. So I think you definitely have to, if it's something that you're willing to try, like you said, though, is it costing you too much during that time? Like, you really have to be really open to that whole process, and understanding that whole process while you're trying these things out. So if it is actually hindering you more than actually something that potentially could be something, like, in giving it a go, like, I think that's key, and being smart about that and thinking about that. So like for us, like the digital artwork stuff, again, a lot of it is more my time than anything, because we're not creating physical products, we're not doing and that kind of stuff. It's more of just my time setting things up, making sure all of that stuff, the quality of things is ready to go and available for people. And then once that's done, it's kind of just like, promote it, tag, do SEO, all the appropriate things stuff, that you need to do, and then kind of see what happens. There's not much more that we could potentially do on the other side of it. I mean, talking about it and things like that helps, but yeah, so I think, so just paying attention to, to be honest, like, depending on where you're at with your business and the challenges that are really happening, you might have a very specific timeline that you have to give things a go, because, you can't keep your shop open this much any longer, or, things like that are very, like, tangible things that create those timelines. So I guess paying attention to those as well.
If it's costing you more money to run your business than you are making, that is really something to look at. We do have a podcast that talks about, like, when it's right to close your business, and that's a really hard decision, but we've been there, and that kind of stuff. And once you've been in business as long as we have, it's over 16 years now, we've seen this ebb and flow of things, and we've also seen this ebb and flow of what people are willing to pay for certain things, the types of ordering that people do. Again, we're physical products of trends of, like, everyone wants mugs and then no one wants mugs, or that kind of thing of, like, there are trends that happen. And so you see that and you're able to be like, okay, like, this may pick back up. I don't know. But I think it's good for us to test some things on this side of things as well. So it's first identifying the challenge. Like, if sales are down, what are the things that aren't selling? Maybe it's everything, but are there certain things that are still selling? Are there certain things that you still get lots of questions on? Are there certain things on your websites that like are getting lots of views? Or if you're on social media or Pinterest or whatever it may be, what tend to be the most popular things? And try to really like dig down deep, like why?
Yeah.
Why is that the case? What could I develop or product could I try that is similar to this, or is kind of the same, or could I take that product and try it in a different realm, or that kind of thing. I think it's paying attention to what you are already seeing in your business, and being willing to accept like, okay, something you may really like may not be working anymore.
Yeah.
And that's probably the hardest. When you really do enjoy something and you really do like it, or you're really proud of it, and it's not saying you shouldn't still be proud of it, but it may have had its time. Some things run its course, and some things surprise us that are still things that are bestsellers that we're like, seriously? Like that's been a while now that we've been doing that. And that one is still a bestseller. But again, why is that a bestseller? And it's figuring out like, how can you take that into other things and that kind of stuff. And so it's like, if you are in a tough place right now with your business, we get it. We know what it's like. It's so hard. You will probably hear this from so many other people too. Is like, if you're searching for this kind of thing of there's not a tangible thing to go back and say, you know, and I do this every month. I look at our numbers and I'm like, oh, let me go back and look at the previous years. And I'm like, oh, there was a trend and you could see it. And then it just, COVID
just
cut it off.
Completely changed.
Going into lockdown, all that stuff completely cut it off to be able to see. I mean, it's all over the place, and not every business is feeling this. Some it's been consistently growing. Some it's been, most of the people we know, it's been consistently getting slower. And then they'll have a big spike at Christmas, and then it just goes quiet again. And so looking at that is helpful sometimes to see. Sometimes we've had months that I'm like, whoa, we've done more than we have in the past, and it doesn't make sense sometimes. That's why it's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's paying attention, being willing to accept the challenges that are happening, the tough things, and be willing to try new things, because you never know, that new thing may be the thing that kind of like gets going again in your business. So it's worth trying it. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? I feel like I talked a lot now.
I mean, something we always say is also remember your purpose on what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and coming back to that. And that will help you kind of continue to navigate and steer your ship forward, I think, in a lot of ways. So,
definitely. Yeah. Let us know if you guys are experiencing certain challenges and like tough stuff in your business right now. And we'd love to chat about it. You can reach out to us on Instagram at Laurent Collective, or find us on laurentcollective.com. And we will be with you soon next time. Take care.
Bye.